This is Data Mastery in AI Marketing. I'm Neil Wilkins, and welcome to this webinar. This one is a combination of two really vital things within marketing right now, which is obviously, the evolution of the technology stack, if you like, that we're calling AI, along with best practice, really, which is evidence-based data usage within marketing. Now, this stuff might sound a little bit dry, but actually it's a really empowering evidence-based topic that I guess many marketers really should know and understand. Data itself really is the foundation of AI-driven marketing, but also marketing in general. If we're doing this properly, this should really come as no surprise to any of us. Now, there are two main types when we talk about data: structured data and unstructured. We're going to go into why this matters and, some of the detail behind this in just a short while. But I just wanted to give you a starting point of the two different types of data, because it's important to really understand the nuances between the two. So structured data is data that's really organized and easily searchable. So I'm going to give you some examples shortly. Unstructured data is stuff that is obviously less structured. So things like videos, images, text, content as such. And this is a really important differentiation, and it enables us to really understand where the insights are going to come from to help our decision making. It's going to help us to personalize the experience for our customers, but it helps us become more efficient, really, as marketers and as businesses, and ultimately to give us some competitive advantage. So there's a number of really, really profound and vitally important things that, if you decide to focus on this, will come out of the back end of this as a benefit to you. So let's look at the difference then, and kind of where these two kind of pockets, if you like, or pots of data come from. So structured versus unstructured, and really what are the differences between them. So let's look at some examples of structured data. So this is data that you will find in your customer information, your customer records, or CRM, customer relationship management systems, if you have them. For some of us, if we're running a micro business, it might even be a spreadsheet. For others, you may be subscribing to a big cloud-based system like, say, Salesforce.com, something like that. This is structured data that will include things like purchase history, customer demographics, buyers' behavior, performance over time, seasonality. All of those different things will come into your structured data pot. Unstructured data, which, even though the name kind of implies it's less valuable, it isn't always. It depends, obviously, what you're looking to do. It comes in the form of things like social media posts, video content, customer reviews, chat logs, so customer interaction as well. But it tends to be a little bit more random. Even though it might be on brand and it might be scheduled in, it's unstructured because it can be in a variety of different guises and formats and lengths, whereas structured data typically follows a system or a process. Now, if you were to take a hybrid approach, in other words, actually value structured data, some of those more formal records, as well as unstructured data to give you little nuances and maybe the flavor or the texture of what's going on, then if you combine those in a hybrid approach, you are going to have a much richer understanding of your customer and also what's going on in your business. So data mastery, particularly using AI, which we'll come on to in just a moment, is about really thinking around a hybrid approach. I need different types of data, different types of evidence to inform my decision making, to do the things that we just talked about: personalization, enhancing customer experience and efficiency. So data's role in marketing, and in AI marketing in particular here, because that's really what we're talking about here, will enable us to get closer and deeper in our relationship with the data. So I'm going to use data in a very generic sense. It's pretty much all the information, the ones and zeros, and the content that you're sharing and storing about how your business and your marketing is performing. And using AI within that kind of game, if you like, or within that art or within that science, however you decide to position this, will enable you to identify some patterns and trends. If you know me, you will know that I love trends. It really is such an exciting thing that enables us to make really confident predictions about what's going to happen. We'll be able to predict potentially customer behavior going forward because we will have this pot of data that's enabling and fueling a confident prediction or forecast of what's likely to happen. Doesn't necessarily mean it will happen, but it's likely to happen. We're going to be using it as well to hopefully automate some decision making, not the big strategic stuff, but those little tactical moments where just moving the dial just by 1 or 2 notches can change everything. So data can really empower that kind of automated decision making. And the fourth point really is to power personalization and recommendations. We know that personalization is the hottest of hot topics in marketing. So AI and the role of data in accordance with AI will enable us to get deeper into that personalization of the customer experience. So what kind of steps can you take? I mean, it's all very well me having a chat and talking ethereally about all these big picture things, but what can you actually do as a result of knowing that? Well, you could audit your data sources. So you could start by thinking, well, what data do we have? Because then you'll understand what structured and unstructured data is available to you. So let's start from the foundations. Just knowing what kind of data you've got is a great starting point. You can then start to use tools, things like Google Cloud AI or Microsoft Azure AI, to organize and process your data. So we want to understand how can we combine this data, and these kinds of platforms enable you to do that in a really kind of structured and systematic way rather than just leaping forward and just making a guess. It's really important to be doing that in a sort of a consistent and planned authoritative way. Then once you've done that, the next thing really will be to start kind of owning the data and really starting to figure out what kind of first party data is going to be most relevant to me. Now, first party data is the data that you can collect and store and own yourself. So that is things like customer transactions, website behavior, stuff that's going into and through your CRM. You might also want to look at some second party data as well. If you have partner shared insights, for example, so maybe you've done a collaborative marketing campaign, or maybe you have resellers or partners or retailers who sell, or agents who sell and pass onwards your products and services. Well, maybe there's stuff you can do with that second party data. Maybe there's insights that you can start to collate in with the first party data to see if you can start to feed this into your system, as it were. And third-party data as well, external providers like Nielsen or Experian, who have this kind of market data so that you can actually benchmark where you are, can also be a really interesting kind of thing to be considering. And of course, things like website tracking tools like Google Analytics and HubSpot can also then collate as well and collect in with that behavior data, so you can really understand who's responding to what, when, and why. So you're starting now to see this kind of interrelationship between the various types of data that you have available to you. So this is where it's getting complex, but also at the same time, really interesting. Now, as you start to do this, what you will very, very quickly see and understand is that it can get both complicated, but also quite cluttered. So the next thing that you want to be thinking about is how can I actually start to prioritize and cleanse the data that is most important to me? Because as you start to look at this, as you start to see patterns emerge or relationships between different types of data, and of course, you can start to use AI tools to help you to see these things. As a mere human being, it's often very hard to see these patterns evolving. But you put data set A and data set B into an AI, And there are a lot of platforms now that were very much there for data analysis that are now seeing AI coming inside them to give you extra sort of detailed insights that are coming through, or something like ChatGPT, where you can see a very nice kind of base layer, if you like, of integration of your data together so that, again, it can inform decision making. So you need clean data. You need it to be well structured. You need it to be consistent, having lots of different pots of data that are in different formats and they look a bit messy. It's like trying to join, up a whole bunch of friends who have never met each other. They're friends of yours, but they've never met each other. Those early kind of conversations are sometimes a little bit awkward because, well, I don't know you, you don't know me. We've got this common friend here who's in the middle, but it's a little bit awkward because we kind of got to sense each other and kind of get to know each other. Well, that's how your data is feeling in this kind of situation. So using an AI platform like Talend or Alteryx or Trifactor can actually help you to kind of cleanse the data, kind of, help it to bond in the right and appropriate way. And then going forward, obviously you want to be regularly cleansing the data to improve any kind of insights that are going to come from it. So don't rely necessarily on the AI to do that for you. The better the quality of the data, avoiding duplicates, any missing values, any inconsistencies, which are typically the common data issues when you start to look at all the data pots that you have, will start to confuse the AIs. The AIs aren't perfect. You're giving them a role to look for insights and trends. So give them the best possible data to give them the best possible chance of getting it right first time. Then what you might be able to do is start to use AI to analyze, past data to predict future potential customer behavior. This is always a nice example here because who doesn't want to know what the customer's going to do next? Well, again, you might not be able to see this from the data, but if you've provided a number of different pots, maybe some structured, some unstructured, and you're asking the AI to look for consistencies or patterns or trends or relationships between these things that you can't see because it's complex, it's detailed. The amount of data might be there at scale. It's, big stuff. And if you can't see it and they can't see it, it's going to be hard. Whereas an AI can do this. An AI can do things like predict churn rates. So, which is obviously going to enhance a retention strategy. It's going to identify maybe high value leads that you can then say, well, look, there's a persona coming through in all these different types of customers. This persona's emerging and wow, that's interesting. Maybe we're not actually targeting that person at the moment. Then there's a new persona you can then start to target with your campaigns. And it might also be, and this is one I see a lot actually, when I see people rolling this out in practical terms, is that you can see the seasonality of things. Even if you think your industry is relatively stable, doesn't really have seasonality in the way that, we define it as things like Christmas and Black Friday and, Valentine's or whatever, these kind of key points in the calendar. You might be able to, using AI with your clean data, unstructured and structured, you might be able to, enable the AI to spot some of these seasonal demands that you haven't actually spotted, and they can be subtle. But can you imagine being able to see something that your competitors aren't seeing and then provide to the market or that demographic in the market a particular service or offer because you've spotted it from the data that's already there? Well, wouldn't that be interesting? Just think of how you could create a simple model here to predict customer engagement trends from the information that the AI is putting out to you and the insights that collaboratively with the AI you can then summarize and form into your new plans and your tactics. This is really powerful stuff. If you can figure this stuff out, the advantages it's going to give you are going to be, broad and wide at the same time. Now, I just mentioned there about looking for, the little nuances and differences in customer demographics, but let's use a bigger phrase here to kind of give this a little bit of seriousness: customer segmentation using AI. Now, what we're doing here is, from this information, from this data, we're grouping customers based on things that are important to us and our businesses. So it could be their behaviors, it could be their demographics, it could be their geography, their psychographics, however you want to look at this. AI can help you with the data that now you're putting into it to spot personalization opportunities, to spot recommendations for products and services that enable you to cross sell or upsell. And previously, you weren't able to do that because you were just guessing. I mean, lovely examples that I'm sure we've all encountered are Spotify's personalized playlist from the things that you listen to or watch on Spotify. You're going to get personalized playlist recommendations. Netflix, AI driven viewing recommendations. You will see different stuff recommended, and you'll almost see a different Netflix than I will see and that the person over there will see because of how the data is being used. So there are many, many big examples of this. And we can do this ourselves. We can use AI to drive segmentation for our email marketing, for our ad targeting, to categorize different audience groups so that we can serve them with different products and services. Customer segmentation from this kind of data is relatively, I'm not going to say it's simple, but it's relatively simple and far, far easier and far quicker than we've ever had it previous to the evolution of AI for us. And of course, this does enable this AI driven data personalization because we're going to be able to tailor our content, tailor and fine tune our emails, do advertising based on the data. Amazon's recommended for you engine is just the most wonderful example of this. And you can just kind of go and search and experience that as a customer yourself to see just how this works. You will get a very different version of Amazon than, say, I do. And it is because it's AI data driven. And that is so, so powerful when it comes to, enabling those sorts of decisions down to a one-to-one level, and how exciting and powerful that is for anybody looking to really kind of work with data going forward. Now, for us, as an actionable step, there are tools available to us. We don't have to be investing billions of dollars to make this happen. Dynamic Yield or Optimizely are good tools for personalization using AI-driven data. So have a little play with those and maybe think about how you can then use product recommendations in your emails or in your website content. Start to explore and pilot this kind of stuff. The more you play with this, the better and more interesting it's going to get for you. And at a bigger level, product and service level, it's interesting, but it's also interesting at a kind of a social and at a content level. We're going to be introducing here at this point this phrase sentiment analysis. Sentiment analysis for the psychologists among us, those who are interested in the why do people buy? What is the psychology behind that decision they've just made to switch away from us and go to somebody else, or vice versa? The sentiment behind what is going on is really, really key to making this thing fly. So AI can analyze unstructured data, so things like social media reviews and that kind of data, to measure customer sentiment. We've had some of this stuff for quite some time. Things like Brandwatch and Monkey Learn, for example, have been around a while, but now what we're seeing is AI coming through in these platforms and these tools, which enable us to really go deep into real-time sentiment analysis. In other words, right here, right now, how is my customer feeling? Not how is my customer behaving? What are they going to do? What do they want next? But actually, how are they feeling about the world around them? How are they responding in social media right now? Because if I can monitor this, if I can automate a response using AI that really, really resonates with how they're feeling right here, right now, just think of the depth of personalization, but the depth of customer experience that you are going to be facilitating there with this. So much more powerful than just sending it out, that particular piece of content or that particular post because it's convenient to me. How much better, how much more powerful to do it when the customer's timing feels right. There's a huge kind of thing that we're opening up here, which is proper, true customer relationship, not this one way, monologue of old school, publishing of content where it was all about when it was convenient to you. And you'd say you were customer focused and you'd say, oh, we're listening and we're posting at the right time for the customer. But actually, we weren't truly listening. We weren't really doing it when it feels right. It might look right. The customer might be online at that point, but how are they feeling when they're online? What kind of, things are they doing in their real life? Well, I've been kind of talking this stuff for, well, decades really, when it comes to customer journey. But now we have the tools available, not just to talk about it, but to actually do it, actually be there at the right time, in the right place, in the right mindset to be saying the right things within our content. So AI powered social media, and this is what really we're talking about here, will enable us to process unstructured data from a host of different sources. We just talked about reviews and social posts there. We can go deeper into this. We can look at comments. We can look at images. AI is powering TikTok's recommendation engine right now. Your steps to kind of engaging with this could be looking at something like Hootsuite Insights or something like Sprout Social, who have now got AI right at the heart of their recommendation engine here, which will power social analytics. There's a new phrase for you. It's not Google Analytics or social media analytics, it's social analytics with an emphasis on the word social. We're looking at relationship building. We're not looking at social media now as an ad platform. Let's face it, most brands in most sectors have fallen into the trap over the years of thinking about social media to push their brand messages, to sell the next event or the next product launch. This is the time where using data in our AI powered and AI supported marketing, we can get back to building relationships. Super, super powerful and enabling us to do this if we choose to do it. And of course, then, because we've fallen into this trap of not performing at an optimal level, we can start to now do A/B testing against where we are now. And maybe, if you've been around a long time, testing where we were before. So maybe you're doing ABC testing. I think I just made that up, but you kind of get the gist of this. What we're looking to do here is to speed up. Because we've got AI, we can speed up AI testing, identify the best performing content, the best performing campaigns automatically, so that we can then be testing how we can then improve it. So testing multiple variations, for example, of email subject lines or ad creative or landing pages are your actionable steps for this. You've got the data. The data is there. It's whether or not you choose to collect it, cleanse it, put it into these platforms, and then start to tease out the little anomalies, tease out those opportunities. Now, of course, the more I add into this mix, the more, and I know some of you will be listening to this thinking, oh, I can't even keep up making my notes. But the more we add in, the more complicated isn't the right word, the more detailed, I think that's probably the better word, that this gets. So this thing is now quite big and unwieldy as a thing. So what we're looking for here is to use AI to say, okay, AI, you've helped me to this point. We've started to get sentiment. We've got all this data. You've helped me to kind of see through. We've got some trends. We're now doing a bit of A/B testing, so we kind of know what's working. But what you have created with me is something really big. But of course, you can also then say to the AI, now, please, would you summarize or prioritize for me the top three things that I should focus on next month from all of this interaction I've had with you? Remember, we're talking to the AI here. All the interaction I've had with you, and give me the top three things that will give me best commercial benefit or that will build my customer relationship to an optimal level in the next month, or whatever you would then infill is the answer because of your tactical plans this year. So you can kind of get the AI to help you prioritize this stuff in a really effective way. It's really interesting. And of course, if you want to then take that forward, we're kind of leading in the direction here of a little bit of growth, a little bit of scalability, a little bit of maybe business development. And of course, if that is how you want to take this, then predictive lead scoring is another one of these big data-driven AI opportunities, because AI can help you prioritize leads or business growth and lead generation based on the likelihood to convert. Wow. So not only do you see 10 leads coming in from that particular campaign, but you know from those 10 leads which ones are most likely to convert because you've got this big data behind you. All the analysis is done. And the AI can then say, well, actually, it's lead number 3 and lead number 7. Those two are most likely to convert from this big data that I got behind it. So if you then had a sales team, or it's your responsibility to do this lead follow up, well, who are you going to go for? you're going to go for lead 3 and lead 7 first. HubSpot, for example, if you're looking to sort of investigate this, has got an AI-driven lead scoring system within it. Others are Salesforce Einstein or Marketo. They've also got this lead scoring capability in them. And of course, this is really powerful stuff because what it enables you, I just used the example of, say, 10 leads that come through from a campaign. But what you're able to do with this data-powered evidence, so you can bet your bottom dollar, this is going to be pretty reliable now because of all the stuff we've talked about. What you're able to do then is say, okay, salesperson supporting me, there's 2 leads for you to follow up. And the other 8 leads, I'm now going to serve with an email campaign. And so I'm going to nurture them until maybe 1 or 2 of those get to a point where they're ready for a follow-up too. A human follow-up, I'm talking about, not an email follow-up. So it enables you as the marketer to be very, very personalized in the timing, again, because we know the sentiment, we know how the customers potentially or the prospects feeling. You're hitting them with the right messages in the right level of interaction at the right time. Now, this is getting really personalized. This is getting really interesting. And of course, it enables you to do this stuff at all points in the customer journey. Because if you can use the AI and help your AI to understand what your customer journey is, so if you've already mapped it, put it into the AI and say, and as I say AI, I'm probably sort of thinking more generically something like ChatGPT or Claude, maybe Perplexity, but probably Claude or GPT, and say, look, here's my customer journey. You've got all this now, this data kind of analysis that we've done. We've kind of all got all these touch points and priorities. Could you now have a look at my customer journey? Can you see all the various touch points? Can you predict for me now which are the most likely paths that my customer is both going to follow through the customer journey? But also, could you identify, well, one, any gaps where the customer journey I've mapped out doesn't necessarily follow true to the data that we've collected. And oh, by the way, we used to see that as a bottleneck. In other words, people never used to click through from that web page further into the site, or people don't respond to that third email that we send. Well, now you've got the data that's going to tell you why. And so what we're doing is we're laying this data evidence almost as a layer over our generic customer journey. And we're asking the AI to understand where there are drop-off points, where we can improve customer experience, and using this AI to kind of go deep into every single customer touch point and say, where could we improve? What could we do? How can we use these trends and this knowledge and all this kind of testing that you've done behind the scenes to improve the customer journey? Wow, how exciting is that? Because then you say, and give me, please, AI, the top 3 things I need to focus on first for best commercial gain or to hit my targets, which I've already briefed you on previously. So it's almost like you've got this definitive kind of amazing brain working alongside you that kind of knows everything about what's going on, can go deeper than you ever can to be problem solving all the way through. And so when it comes to doing the really kind of tactical stuff like email optimization, for example, as we just use this one as an example, you can go deep into the fine tuning of a single word in a subject line. Maybe you move the send time from 1/4 the hour to 1/4 the hour. Maybe when somebody responds or clicks on a particular button on the email that you send, you know that that button will deliver a better impact than that other button over there. You can really go deep into this stuff. There are many, many automated email optimization tools, Pasado, Seventh Sense, lots of others are available. And these are going to be the ones that are going to highly increase your conversion rates. And this is about personalization. This is where we're going with all of this stuff, down to the level of a single one-to-one interaction with a prospect or a customer. So the idea of scattergun or blanket coverage of your content or your interactions now is going to be a thing of the past. We are really now honing in on one-to-one communication. Now, there's a but. And there's always a but, isn't there? The first big but is that this is kind of big stuff. There's a lot of stuff to focus in on here. And I mean, I'm very unsurprised if you didn't press the pause button and go back and listen to some of this stuff again and make some notes just so you can follow this through step by step. So it is big and unwieldy for many of us. But the other thing as well, and again, these aren't necessarily buts negative, they're buts because your competition aren't probably doing it. So it's an opportunity. This one is about data ethics and AI marketing. If you're going to do all of this stuff, if you're going to be using AI here, you need to always have front of mind the ethical stance on this. So AI must be used responsibly to maintain your customers' trust at all levels in the journey, in all ways of data holding. Remember, all of the usual kind of principles of more traditional marketing apply here. Just because you're using AI doesn't mean that all of that goes out the window. So you do need to be transparent. You do need to be adhering to GDPR and all of the other regulations. You do need to be having ethical policies within your marketing workflows. And you can use tools, the AIs themselves, to help you check for any bias that's coming through, because AI will be biased based on how you brief it and how you are putting data in. So consistently asking for a little kind of bias check, maybe from the AI at every step, is a really nice little filter to show and demonstrate, if challenged, that you are doing this stuff with best intentions. Now, do remember, everybody must remember that it is not about perfection. Everybody, when it comes to data ethics and AI marketing, everybody's on a journey. There is no one example I can give you that says, here's the perfect example of how you do it. There are always failings. There's always improvements that you can make. But the thing is about best intention. If you can evidence that you're on a journey, you're logging the journey to ethical data usage through AI and also in your broader marketing, you're doing a good job as a marketer or as a business person. Okay, so it's about logging it, journaling it, and having a process of continuous improvement. It isn't about the definitive 100% squeaky clean perfection that I guess we're all kind of striving for. That's not what it's about. It's about continuous improvement. So regularly auditing everything for compliance with ethics and with data privacy and all of the other really important stuff is really, really important. Now, just as a little bit of an example, again, just to bring this back to super practical, I'm going to use the example of ChatGPT and how you could kind of use this in a really kind of actionable way if you want to take this stuff forward. Now, the reason for talking about ChatGPT is just from my perspective personally, I find this a really good tool to be using. Others are available. So I'm going to say ChatGPT in a very generic sense. So it can be OpenAI's tool, but it could also be Google Gemini. It could also be Claude. It could be any of the others that you might be aware of and using. So when I say ChatGPT, I'm talking generically, these more generalist AI platforms. Okay. So the first thing is data processing. Okay, so we're going to start to think about converting raw data into actionable insights. So what you're looking to do here is to integrate ChatGPT wherever you can with your CRM or marketing analytics platform to extract and summarize insights. You need to get the data exported and into GPT. You can ring fence it if there's any commercial sensitivities there. You need to go for the corporate ring fence version, or just take out stuff that makes you identifiable. Maybe remove some of the column headers or whatever if there's sensitive information or customer information in there. You might want to take that out because you need to be working more generically, and then you can import it back into your system and then obviously identify customers back in a safe place. You can then use GPT to monitor customer sentiment in real time from social media and customer service interactions. Get it out there looking. There's real time search now within GPT, so use it. Super, super powerful. And you can automate data-driven content creation to ensure consistency of your messages and of your personalization. If you're using the latest version of ChatGPT on the Pro account, you will know you can schedule tasks. So it will do reminders, it will do follow-ups for you within ChatGPT, a new feature that we're now seeing and enjoying. You're going to be able to use it as well to enhance your content production. So we know already it can generate content ideas, headlines, and even full articles based on not only your kind of briefing, but also trending topics. Get it to go out and look for some of those topics and then create articles from those topics. So we're not talking necessarily just about stuff around you, but we could be curating on other topics. So again, if you're looking at thought leadership, this can be very, very powerful. So it can really enhance our work there. So it can generate blog topics and outlines based on customer pain points and industry trends. Get it to go looking. It can do the research. It is your research assistant in real time, getting out there, helping you to leverage its capability to then rewrite and optimize maybe existing content for different audience segments. Remember that personalization word is super important here. And then if you've got chatbots or virtual assistants, you can integrate it in there to deliver personalized customer interactions based on the historical data. I was listening to one yesterday, which was really interesting. It was a phone call that somebody was making through to a service. The service instantly knew, because obviously the caller ID, it knew who the person was, and it was coming back with nuanced, automated stuff that was drawing from a database. And it made that experience super personalized, and it made that record of that interaction, which I'm guessing was then fed into their CRM system. It made it so nuanced and personalized that, of course, then the next time that person calls, it is all about them. It's not this generic Q&A. It's very much about what they truly want and what they need. And of course, this will then give you competitive advantage. If you're using ChatGPT in this way, it's going to save you time. It's going to ensure you've got a consistent brand voice. It will improve engagement because of those very reasons I've just mentioned, which enables hyper-personalized content. Don't be restricted by thinking, well, I'm not sure it can do that, or I think I'm kind of dreaming a little bit too positively here. No, it can do it right here, right now. I haven't yet seen anything that you challenge it with not being possible so far. So you can enhance your customer support automation. You can reduce response times. And of course, all of this stuff is going to increase and improve customer satisfaction. So you get more advocacy, you get more repeat engagement, and potentially more repeat sales, and a longer term customer lifetime value. So it's really powerful there at a tactical level. At a more strategic level, of course, it will summarize complex data sets into something that should be quite digestible. Keep prompting and asking it to give you a summary of the top 3 things that it's found, and keep pushing it. Say, are these really the top 3 things for this particular task I have? And get it to suggest improvements. Say, what would you do if you were me? And kind of go deeper and deeper, so that what you're able to do then is almost stay ahead of the trends. That's key. What you're wanting to do here is not just do what the competition is possibly doing next to you. You're able then to get ahead of those trends. So you're always publishing stuff that is super relevant, super personalized, and just really valuable to everybody involved. And as you start to do that, another strategic use of GPT or the others is enabling marketing automation, because this automation of, say, the A/B testing that we were talking about before enables you to refine your campaign strategies. And imagine generating dynamic email marketing sequences based on AI-driven audience segmentation. So persona A has a different email marketing sequence to persona B because they behave in subtly different ways. And that isn't because we made it up. That is because the AI uncovered it and saw it as a way to refine our campaigns. And constantly adapting and creating different ad copy that shifts in response to real-time market data. Can you imagine that? In real time, your data is powering ad copy that moves on an automated basis in line with the market. Well, surely that is like having somebody there literally just looking at the market and saying, okay, I'm going to rewrite that ad, press. I'm rewriting it again because it's moved, press. We're going to go down that line. Okay, rewrite it, press. It's at that kind of pace. How exciting, how dynamic, and how positive that might be. And then the final thing really in this kind of strategic use of ChatGPT to master your data and the outputs from it is think about scalability. Scaling AI-driven decision making is key here. Deploying ChatGPT powered AI tools for real-time reporting dashboards. So as it starts to roll out these things, reporting back to you. So you have this kind of, and I always find myself saying this kind of a NASA style mission control. Can you imagine that? Where you've got AIs reporting back in real time. You can see the graphs moving in real time. You can see the trending topics coming through in real time. So whenever you are challenged or asked for what's going on with that campaign, or how are we serving this particular customer, because I'm just going to go on a call with them, what's actually going on with them? You've got their sentiment. You know how they feel. You know how they're responding. You know how collectively they're focused on this particular topic. You can then train your team to be integrated with this for strategic planning and forecasting. And then you can ensure that you and they predictively are working with the future of the customer's relationship right the way across the customer journey at every single touch point. So it's not just you in marketing. It's not just you in business development. It's not just you in sales. It's all of us collaboratively working together on the right terms of the customer, using GPT, and others are available as an AI tool and platform that really powers this whole new kind of version, if you like, of marketing going forward. So I would, really actively encourage you to experiment with things like ChatGPT and their API integrations for this real-time data processing. There's no excuse now to say you're behind the curve, and there's no excuse now to say that you're too busy, because there is automation available now to do this stuff. It is about developing a custom AI strategy really now. So really kind of stretching your marketing strategy on into one that incorporates ChatGPT for competitive differentiation. Again, is any platform that you're using as well, just overwrite ChatGPT with the one that you're using. I'm just using that as I say, as an example. But what it will do is it will enable this AI-driven results and continuous improvement. So your marketing workflows are continuously improving every single moment of every single day. Again, if we're not doing this, the competition will be. So it's really important to jump on this. But I've got just a small number to round off of key takeaways for you. And these are really, really important points to make. I've opened up this huge opportunity, this wealth of, sort of career development, brand development, business development opportunity here. But the key takeaways are: start small. Use AI for just one function to begin with, like lead scoring or personalisation, and keep that as the lane in which you are going to play to start with. So begin small, you can scale up later. But at least by beginning small, you'll have a framework of best practice. You'll have a template that you can work with. That's critical. Choose the right tools. Evaluate a load of the different AI platforms, some of those that I've included here and others based on searches that you do, and base the one that you choose for each particular role on your business needs. Don't overspend if there's something smaller or more efficient or simpler to use that will solve the pain point that you have. Don't be swayed by the media hype or even the reviews. You've got to go into those free trials and test this stuff out. So it will take a little bit of time to choose the right ones, but that is important and vital. And that's why I'm saying it could be ChatGPT for the kind of generic AI, but others are available. I'm always at pains to say that because it's really important you find something that works specifically for you. Train your team. Upskilling, marketers in data literacy and AI is one thing, but also there will be others around the business. There'll be others, there'll be colleagues, there'll be your management team who need to understand this new journey that you're going to be taking the business on. So train people up, enable them, show them, report to them how the thing is progressing. And if you see people, rising to the surface and saying, I'm really interested in this, can you share more? Be more collaborative, help them to join you on the journey. It's exciting stuff. This is about business development in all senses of the phrase. So if you can get others on board, that is all so much the better. But really, really importantly, is track your campaign success with key metrics. So make sure any AI driven improvements or progression that you do is really aligned with your KPIs, your key performance indicators. So you need to be evidencing both for yourself, but also to the business that these are the right things to be doing. This is the right journey that we're on. So by aligning all of this with your KPIs, you build confidence personally and with others. So things like your customer engagement rates, those are the really good ones. I love that because if you can improve that, you open up a host of opportunities for, increasing the next one, which is conversion rates. Can you improve your conversion rates even by just 1%? That could be time well spent because think of the financial benefit of doing that could be huge. And of course, any kind of ROI improvements that you can see, and you'll have your own, yours will be different to mine, different to the next person. But think about what am I actually trying to do to improve the return on investment? And how can this data mastery and then the use of AI help to empower me in my decision making, but also with a reason to be improving the amount of resource that I'm committing here, be it people, be it systems, be it processes, or be it my time. The more you can do this to save time, become more efficient, and open up those opportunities for the business, the more that you will be able to prove and show evidence to yourself that you are truly on this journey to data mastery in AI marketing.